Welcome everyone to the second session in our Communicating Science series. My name is Marie Ennis O'Connor and I am the Head of Communications at the International Bureau for Epilepsy. I will be delivering the next 3 modules in this series to you. In our first session, Ellie provided a comprehensive overview of the importance of effective science communication and how to write clear and compelling content. Now, in this session, I'm going to take you through the practical aspects of communication. Specifically, we'll explore a range of tools and strategies to effectively convey scientific findings to your communities. By the end of this session, you will be able to identify different formats for communicating scientific information. You will understand the strengths and weaknesses of each format, and you'll be able to apply key principles for creating effective content in each format. Let's begin by exploring some of the most common formats used to communicate scientific findings. Now, as you can see on this slide, these formats vary widely from traditional academic publications, such as scientific papers, to more accessible formats like videos and social media posts. For this training, we're going to focus on accessible tools for communicating scientific findings clearly and effectively. So let's start with a format that's gaining increasing importance. This is the plain language summary or lay summary. Now, these summaries simplify research studies into clear, jargon-free language, making research accessible to a lay audience. Now, of course, while this is really important, it's equally important not to sacrifice the accuracy of the information. The goal is to present the findings in a way that's clear and simple while staying true to the researcher's key messages and the impact on the field. When structuring a plain language summary, it's important that you follow a clear, logical format that will help the reader easily follow the content. So here's a simple structure that you can use. You begin with the study's title. Now, this should give the reader an immediate sense of what the research is about. Next, provide key details such as the researchers involved, where the study was published, so that interested readers can reference the original source if they wish. Now we come to the lay summary. Begin by stating the problem or question that the research is trying to answer. This helps the reader grasp the relevance of the study right from the beginning. Next, provide a basic overview of how the research was conducted. Focus on the key steps without getting too technical. So, for example, instead of detailing every methodology in the study, you can briefly describe the study's design, participants, and main approach to collecting data. Then, summarize the main results of the study. This is really important. Explain the significance of the research findings. Why do these results matter? How could they affect people's lives? How could they inform future research or influence policy or practice? Let's look at an example of a well-written plain language summary to see how it works in practice. So here we have a journal article, Non-Seizure Related Outcomes with Real-World Use of CBD in LGS and Dravet Syndrome, a caregiver survey. And here we have a plain language summary of the study. This summary explains the results of the survey aimed at understanding how CBD affected not only seizures, but also other aspects of children's lives such as sleep, anxiety, and quality of life. I've created a lay summary to share with you. Now, I'm not going to go through it all in detail. I'll provide the slide deck so that you can review it at your convenience. I want to talk about some best practices for writing lay summaries. So first up, use plain language. Keep your sentences simple and to the point. For example, instead of saying the study utilized a longitudinal design, you could say the study followed the same group of people over time. See the difference? It's much easier for a wider audience to understand quickly. Next, avoid jargon and technical terms. I know Ellie already emphasized this in the first video, but it's worth repeating. Complex scientific terms can make a summary harder to follow. And another key tip is to highlight the so what. Ask yourself, why does this research matter? Why should your audience care? Always explain the real-world implications of the findings in a way that resonates with your audience. And remember, you know your audience best. Finally, keep it short and focused. Lay summaries don't need to go into every single detail. Instead, think about what your audience really needs to know. Usually it's straightforward answers about how this research impacts them. So keep it concise. Okay, next let's talk about fact sheets. Now, fact sheets are perfect when you need to quickly inform and educate an audience, but you don't want to overwhelm them with too much detail. They're all about keeping things concise and to the point. And because fact sheets are easy to print and share, they're ideal for meetings, for conferences, for community events. You can hand them out to attendees as a take-home resource. When it comes to fact sheets, be sure to include relevant contact details. That way, if anyone has follow-up questions or wants more information or wants to get in touch with you, they know exactly who to reach out to and how to do it. Okay, let's talk about some best practices for creating effective fact sheets. First, fact sheets should be brief, usually no more than 1 or 2 pages at the most. You want to focus on the most important information, giving readers a quick overview without digging into too many technical details. The language should be simple and direct. Keep jargon to a minimum, and when you do need to use technical terms, make sure to define them in plain language. Remember, you always want to make the content accessible to everyone. Next, use bullet points and headings. This helps to organize the information and makes it easier for the reader to scan and digest. And don't underestimate the power of white space. This helps to guide the reader's eye and make the fact sheet more visually appealing, which helps with understanding. Make sure you double check all your facts and figures. Don't forget also to add a date to indicate when the information was last updated. And always cite your sources. This not only builds credibility, but also gives readers a way to access more detailed information if they want to dig deeper. And finally, don't forget to proofread. Check it for grammar, spelling mistakes, and if possible, ask somebody else to read it as well. Another pair of eyes can often catch mistakes that you may not have noticed. Okay, let's talk about infographics. I love a good infographic. Did you know that the human brain processes visuals 60,000 times faster than text? That's why infographics are such a powerful tool to communicate complex scientific findings effectively. And they're especially useful when your audience doesn't have the time to go through lengthy reports or detailed documents. A well-structured infographic distills key messages into simple, easy-to-understand visuals that can be grasped in a few seconds. One of the biggest advantages of infographics is their shareability. They're particularly effective for social media dissemination. They're super easy to distribute on social media, on websites and newsletters, which helps to get your message out to a wider audience. And of course, there's the visual appeal. Infographics combine charts and icons and images to make even the most complex data easier to understand and more engaging. Okay, let's go over some best practices for designing effective infographics. First up, limit text to key points. The goal is to present only the most essential information. Use clear, concise text that highlights the core message and complements it with visuals like charts, icons, or relevant images. This helps to make the information easier to understand at a glance. And it's a good idea to outline the structure of your graphic before adding any visuals. Infographics are designed to show big data in the most minimalistic way so the audience can understand the scope of the scientific findings. Next, avoid clutter. Keep the design clean and minimalistic. Too much ornamentation distracts from the main message. A simple design improves readability. And again, strategic use of white space is also important. White space guides the viewer's eye through the infographic, it breaks up sections, and it makes the information more digestible. It also helps prevent the design from becoming too overwhelming. You also want to balance text and visuals, ensure a clear balance between the text and visuals. And don't forget to always cite the original research or data sources. This builds credibility, ensures transparency, and helps your audience trust the information you're presenting. Finally, again, double check facts and figures before publishing. Accuracy is critical, so make sure all your data is correct. Drawing inspiration from well-designed examples can really help improve the quality and impact of your infographics. So let's talk about a few great places to find those examples. Firstly, many universities and research organisations create appealing infographics that summarise research findings. These often feature clear data visualisations, key takeaways, and a clean, easy-to-follow design. Agencies like the WHO, the Centres for Disease Control and Prevention, and National Institutes of Health often release infographics to communicate critical data and recommendations to the public. And you can also look, of course, at epilepsy-specific organisations for inspiration: the Epilepsy Foundation, the LGS and DRAVE Foundations, Epilepsy Network. They share some great infographics, so they're really a great source of inspiration. Now, I want to share some tools with you. There's some fantastic tools out there. Let me walk you through some of my favourites. First up, Canva. Canva is one of the most popular design tools out there because it's simple and it's accessible. It has a great range of pre-made infographic templates, icons and charts that you can easily customize to fit your content. There's a tool called Visme. It offers a wide variety of templates, data visualizations, design elements, and it's got this drag and drop interface, which makes it really easy to add charts and icons and images to your infographics. There is another tool that I only recently discovered called Mind the Graph, and this is tailored specifically for academic and scientific audiences. So once you've created your infographic, it's time to share it. Now, there are plenty of platforms that can help you to extend the reach and engage a wider audience. Pinterest is a highly visual platform that excels at sharing infographics. So you can pin your designs to different boards, and that can actually drive more traffic to your website. Next, think about embedding your infographics directly on your website or blog. By placing them in relevant posts or research pages, you can enrich your content and make it easier for your readers to digest key information. And you can also include infographics in your slide decks and presentations. Whether you're presenting at conferences or meetings or webinars, infographics are a way to keep the audience engaged and add visual appeal to your content. Now, online communities like Reddit and Quora are also perfect for sharing your infographics. They're more engaging than text-heavy posts, and they make them great ways to spark a conversation. Another great option is media outreach. Pitch your infographics to journalists or media outlets, particularly those, obviously, that focus on science. Infographics are a very compelling tool to capture their attention, and then they can use it in their articles and their publications. And finally, printed materials. Although infographics are thought of as digital material, you can also print them. Printed copies make great handouts or flyers or posters to increase visibility and engagement at your events. Let's talk video now. Videos, especially those with animation or dynamic visuals, grab attention and maintain viewer interest far better than text or images alone. And then there's better retention. Studies show that people retain 95% of a message when they watch it in a video, compared to just 10% when reading it in text. Wider reach is another big advantage. Videos are easily shareable across platforms like YouTube, social media, websites, which means they can help you to reach a broad and diverse audience. Short-form videos in particular perform really well. And let's not forget accessibility. With subtitles, translations, and visual aids, videos can cater to a wide audience, including those with hearing impairments or language barriers. These accessibility features help make your content more inclusive. When it comes to creating videos, there are some best practices that can really help to make your content shine and keep your audience engaged. Let's break them down now. Firstly, you guessed it, keep it simple. Use plain language to explain complex concepts and avoid unnecessary jargon. The goal is to make the information as easy to understand as possible. Next, stay focused. Each video should have one main message or topic. Avoid overwhelming your viewers with too much information. You can always do a follow-up video. Use engaging visuals which tell a story. Animations, infographics can help to emphasize your key points. Just make sure those visuals are high quality. It's also important to maintain a clear structure. Break your video into clear sections, such as an introduction, main content, and conclusion. Guide your viewers smoothly through the video by signaling transitions so that they can follow that flow. And lastly, edit your video for clarity. Remove any tangents to keep your video concise and impactful. Make sure your transitions are smooth and ensure the audio is really easy to hear. So let me share with you some of my favorite tools that you can use to create video. InShot is a mobile app that's user-friendly. It's perfect for creating short videos. It's also got a powerful editing feature which allows you to easily cut or trim or add effects all from your phone. It's great for quick edits on the go. CapCut is a very user-friendly app. It's got a drag and drop interface. It's lots of built-in templates, effects, and music, making it easy to create stylish videos without much editing experience. And then there's Clipchamp, which is a web-based editor, and it's simple to use, doesn't require any downloads. It offers basic editing tools also, like trimming, splitting, and adding text overlays. So there are 3 tools, and they're free, that I recommend. Once your video is ready, it's time to get it out there. Here are some great places to share your videos and reach the right audience. Okay, let's start with YouTube. As the world's most popular video platform and the second largest search engine, it's owned by Google, YouTube is perfect for reaching a wide audience. You can create playlists for related content, upload YouTube Shorts for quick tips, or even host live Q&A sessions with YouTube Live. Next, there's social media platforms. On Facebook and Instagram, you can use Reels and Stories for short, engaging video content. LinkedIn is great for a more professional audience, perfect for videos related to research, conferences, or expert interviews. And if you're targeting a younger audience, TikTok is ideal for creative videos. In the next training video, I'll explore these platforms with you in more detail. You can also embed your video directly on your website or in blog posts. And you can share your video in relevant groups or forums like Facebook groups or Reddit communities where your audience is already engaged. And finally, while YouTube is a major platform, don't overlook Vimeo. It's excellent for professional videos. It offers better privacy settings if that's important to you compared to YouTube. So it makes it a great choice for sharing research or more corporate content. But if engagement is your goal, then YouTube is definitely the way to go. Okay, I want to talk a little bit more about YouTube because it really is powerful. It blends the best of both worlds, combining the powerful functionality of a video hosting service with the community building and engagement features of a social platform. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, it's the second largest search engine after Google. And as I said, it's actually owned by Google. So this gives YouTube a massive advantage in terms of discoverability and reach. I want to show you some key insights from the Digital 2024 report. This is a major report that comes out each year, which really helps us to dig into the stats. So one particularly noteworthy statistic that I want to share with you is that YouTube doesn't just lead as the most used social media app, it also tops the list as the world's most popular mobile app. And this makes YouTube an excellent choice for delivering content that's both engaging and mobile friendly so that people can access it anytime and anywhere. One stat that really stands out for me is that the average time spent per visit on YouTube is over 23 minutes. I know I spend even longer. This higher engagement rate tells us a lot. Not only is YouTube a widely used platform, but it's one where users are really spending time consuming content. So this makes it a great channel for sharing more in-depth information, whether it's research findings or expert interviews or even documentary-style videos. So if you're looking to communicate complex or detailed content, then YouTube is really a great place to be. And here are some examples of very attractive visually videos on YouTube. So there's plenty of videos there to draw inspiration from. I want to talk about YouTube Shorts. These are short form videos. They're typically under 60 seconds and they're designed specifically for mobile viewing. This format is ideal for sharing scientific content in a quick and engaging way. And one of the standout features of Shorts is their prominent placement on the YouTube homepage. You've probably noticed this yourself when you're scrolling through. They're designed to keep users engaged and increase the chance of your content reaching new audiences. So I encourage you to check out YouTube Shorts. You can use them to break down complex scientific ideas into easily digestible visuals or short statements. For example, in just 60 seconds, you could explain how a particular medication works or summarize the key findings from the latest research. I think YouTube Shorts are going to become much more prominent in social media outreach if TikTok, so as I'm talking to you here as I'm recording this, TikTok looks like it's about to be banned in the US, which also may have implications if you're listening to this in Europe. So we'll talk about TikTok more in the next training, but for now I highly encourage you to consider looking at YouTube Shorts. So since shorts are very brief, it's essential to keep your message clear and focused. Avoid overloading the viewer with too much information. Stick to one key point to ensure your message resonates. Many viewers watch videos without sound, so it's really important to incorporate captions so that your message is communicated effectively even when the video is viewed on mute. Since shorts are often viewed, as I said, on mobile devices with small screens, make sure any visuals you use are bold and clear, and simple visuals work best. YouTube Live is another feature to take note of in YouTube. It enables you to host real-time interactive events that can engage your audience in a more personal and immediate way. You could use it to host live Q&A sessions where researchers could answer questions perhaps from the audience in real time. And there's another feature, there's podcasts, both video and audio format. This is reaching a wider audience as well. So YouTube offers the ability to host podcasts directly on the platform. And here's how you can leverage podcasts for scientific information. You could use them as a platform for longer, more in-depth discussions on complex scientific topics. You could do this in a way that's harder to achieve, obviously, in short-form content like YouTube Shorts. Unlike live videos, podcasts can be consumed at any time, which provides that flexibility for your audience. And it's an ideal way to reach busy people who may not have time to watch videos, but they're still eager to learn. By publishing both video and audio versions of your podcast, you can cater to a broader range of audience preferences and increase your chance of attracting and retaining listeners. And here's an example of how you create a podcast. You simply hit new podcast. And if you're looking for inspiration, again, there's plenty of podcasts on YouTube for you to get inspired by. Creating well-organized, keyword-rich playlists is a powerful yet simple tool to significantly enhance the viewer experience and broaden your content's reach on YouTube. Whether you're organizing your own content or you're curating videos from other creators, playlists help keep your audience engaged and make it easier for them to discover relevant content. Playlists also improve your content's chances of being recommended by YouTube's algorithm. When viewers finish one video in a playlist, they're automatically encouraged to view the next one, which keeps them engaged longer and increases your total watch time. And since watch time is a key algorithm factor for YouTube, then this helps your content to perform better. To improve the discoverability of your content, to keep your viewers engaged, it's a good idea to organize your videos into themed playlists. For example, you could create a playlist called Epilepsy Resources for Parents to group all your videos related to caregiving, treatments, and resources. This makes it easier for viewers to find what they need, and it encourages them to watch more videos in a row, again, increasing your overall watch time. If you don't have enough original content yourself, don't worry. You can always share from other creators. Gathering videos from trusted experts in the field not only provides value to your audience, but it helps you to establish yourself as a go-to resource. Now, to get started with playlists, you first have to create a YouTube account. This gives you access to playlist features like creating, organizing, and tracking your content. And then you search for specific keywords related to epilepsy to find relevant videos that you can add to your playlist. And then once you've found those videos, you create and name your playlist clearly so that your audience knows exactly what to expect. For example, you could name a playlist Latest Epilepsy Research. It's also important to regularly update your playlists. As new videos are created or older ones become outdated, keep your playlists fresh and relevant by adding new content and removing any outdated videos. Finally, make sure to share your playlists across multiple platforms. Post them on your social media accounts, websites to reach a broader audience, and promote your playlist directly on your YouTube channel and in video descriptions to increase visibility and engagement. To ensure that your YouTube videos are easily discoverable and reach your target audience, optimizing them for search is essential. Let's walk through how you can do this effectively. So start by thinking about the terms that your audience might search for. For example, if your video covers epilepsy or seizure management, consider using keywords like seizure care or epilepsy treatment. Next, leverage YouTube's search bar. You can see that on the right of the screen here. So type in related terms and pay attention to the suggested search queries because these are the real searches that people are making. Balance medical terminology with plain language to make your content accessible to a wider audience. So for instance, if you're discussing status epilepticus, also include terms like severe seizures. When creating your video title, you want to aim to keep it under 70 characters to ensure that it's fully visible in search results. Place your most important keywords at the beginning for maximum impact. Titles that pose questions like, what is epilepsy? How can you manage it? Can spark curiosity and drive clicks. Next, you need to add a video description. Start with a concise summary in the first 2 to 3 lines. This is what viewers see before they click show more. Be sure to include your main keywords here. And then use your keywords throughout the description, but do so naturally. Don't overstuff. For example, you could say, in this video, we break down the symptoms, causes, and treatments of epilepsy, including status epilepticus. Always include a call to action, such as encouraging viewers to subscribe or visit your website for more resources, and add links to related contents like your website or social media to make it easier for viewers to connect with you. And you also need to add relevant tags to your video to help YouTube's algorithm understand and rank your content. For example, tags like epilepsy education or seizure treatment can boost visibility. I want to talk to you now about thumbnails. These are the small clickable images that represent your videos in search results, in recommendations, and on your channel. They're the first visual impression that viewers have of your content, so making them appealing is key to attracting more engagement. A good thumbnail should be visually clear. It should be easy to understand, even when people are looking at it on a mobile. Avoid clutter. Focus on the main elements of the video. It's a good idea to include text because this helps viewers quickly understand what your video is about, especially when the image alone may not be enough. And thumbnails should be sharp and high resolution. Low quality images can look unprofessional and discourage viewers from clicking. Ensure that the thumbnail gives an accurate preview of what viewers can expect. And be consistent with your branding. And by that I mean use similar colours, fonts and imagery across your thumbnails to create a cohesive look that helps viewers recognise that it's your content. So it's worth spending some time creating really nice thumbnails that are visually appealing and that people can recognise as coming from you. All right, let's take a moment to talk about social media posts. In session 3, I'm going to go deeper into creating social media strategies and crafting posts that drive impact. For now, though, let's keep these tips in mind. Social media gives you access to a vast audience. Posts aren't just about sharing information. They're a starting point for conversations. When you encourage comments and questions or discussions, you're building a community. You're fostering deeper engagement with your content. And social platforms are built for sharing. A single post can be shared multiple times, spreading your message far beyond your immediate audience and increasing your visibility. Okay, before we wrap up, let's take some time to talk about a very important topic, and that is creating accessible content. Now, accessibility isn't just about helping people with impairments, it also enhances the user experience for everyone. So let's break it down into a few key areas. First, think about how readable your content is. We've spoken a little bit about this already. Make sure there's enough color contrast between your text and your background in the material that you're creating. This makes it easier to read, especially for people with visual impairments or in poor lighting. Next, break up your content using headings, subheadings, and lists. It's easier for everyone to scan your content and find what they're looking for when you do it this way. Choose clean, easy-to-read fonts and avoid using small or overly stylized fonts. Next, let's make sure your visuals are accessible. Every image should include descriptive alternative text or alt text. This allows people using screen readers to understand what the image conveys. Provide captions and transcripts for all multimedia content. This ensures accessibility for people who are deaf or hard of hearing, and even for those who prefer reading to listening. I know I'm one of those people. A critical consideration is to avoid using animations or effects, of course, that might trigger seizures in people with photosensitive epilepsy. If you must include such elements, keep them subtle and provide options to pause or disable them. I'm sure you already know this. Language plays a big role in accessibility. You've heard me say this throughout, but again, it bears repeating. Use straightforward and simple language. If you need to use technical terms, well then define them clearly or provide a plain language alternative. For video content, always include accurate captions that reflect the dialogue and more importantly, sound. Offer a full transcript for those who prefer to read or to use assistive technologies. Finally, ensure your content works everywhere. Make sure it's accessible on mobile devices, on tablets, and on different browsers. So check for that compatibility. Test your content with tools like screen readers and voice recognition software to ensure that it works well for all users. By following these steps, you're going to be creating content that's not only inclusive, but also improves the overall experience for everyone. Accessibility matters, and it benefits us all. Building on this same theme of accessibility, I want to finish up with QR codes. Now, you've probably seen these little black and white squares everywhere, from menus to posters to presentations. They're an incredibly handy tool for providing quick and easy access to resources. A simple scan can take you straight to a website or to a video or to a document without having to type in long web addresses. They can also break language barriers by linking to translated versions of your content, making your message more inclusive and accessible. But as great as these codes are, they come with a few challenges, especially when it comes to accessibility. So if the code is too small, or if it doesn't have enough contrast with the background, it can be really hard to scan, especially for people with low vision. So for some people, like those with visual impairments or also with cognitive disabilities, scanning this kind of code might not feel intuitive, or it could be confusing without clear instructions. And of course, we also know that not everyone has access to a smartphone or even to a reliable internet connection. And this can also limit their ability to use QR codes. So how do we address these challenges? How do we make these codes work for everyone? Well, it starts with the design of the code. Make sure that you make it big. Ensure that the code is large enough to scan easily. No squinting required. Use colors that stand out. Black and white, as you see here, is classic, but you can get creative so long as it's easy to see. For audiences with visual impairments, some advanced QR codes include raised or tactile elements to make them easier to locate and use. Give clear instructions. Let people know exactly what to do. So you could say something like, point your phone's camera at this code to access the resources, for example. And always include a backup option, like printing the web link below the QR code, so that those without a smartphone or a scanner aren't left out. Test for accessibility. We've talked about this just a few moments ago. Make sure that the code and the instructions work well with screen readers and are accessible on different devices, even older smartphones. If someone can't use the code, well then give them other ways to access the content, like a phone number, for example, old school, or a text, a simple website URL, or even printed instructions. By making QR codes accessible, we're not just improving usability, we're ensuring that everyone can connect to the resources that they need, regardless of their abilities or technology access. So with a few thoughtful tweaks, these codes can go from being a simple convenience to an inclusive communication tool that works for everyone. And that's a win for us all. Now, before we close, let's quickly recap what we've covered today. In this session, we explored a variety of formats for communicating scientific information, from plain language summaries to videos. We also discussed the importance of accessibility, along with best practices for creating engaging, effective, and inclusive content that reaches everyone. Looking ahead, in our next session, we'll explore strategies for choosing the right platforms for your target audience. We'll also cover how to optimize your content for each platform to maximize both reach and engagement. I'm really looking forward to continuing this training in session 3. So thank you for your time today, and I'll see you in the next session.